I'm a bad mode, gotta keep it tight. Hold my baby squid, keep him out of sight. Talking about my life, government, stay away. 55, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. I'm to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome back to the channel. How is everybody doing tonight? Oh, it's been one hell of a night. We had someone come to look at our house tonight to do a showing. I'm sorry, it's freaking the middle of November. It's cold. And it is actually cold. It's like 50 degrees here. It's cold for us. It's rainy. They came at 6. It was already dark. What the heck can you see at night of a house of a prospective buyer? Like, whatever. Hey Palmers, hope you made it back. Tammy, as always, good to see you. I pinned the link for the As the Gavel Drops Discord. If you are interested in any case documents from a wide variety of cases, go ahead and click that link and join. Fourth doctor's appointment today, but I'll be lurking. Hey Cynthia, hope you're doing okay. Hi Hose Picker, you tried the Discord link but can't get past Are You a Human? I wonder what's up. Ooh, baking cookies. Ooh. Hey John, thanks for helping and doing all your mod stuff. Yes, subscribe, share the video. I feel like this is an important topic for everybody. Let me do my pen thing to kind of get my camera back to being normal, where I'm not. Tonight's just, I'm tired tonight. Like, it's just a night. We're gonna try to keep these streams to about an hour. I don't want, because it's more like a civics class and a discussion on what they do and who they are. I don't think that talking for hours and hours and hours, I don't think that'll be effective. I'm going to try to keep these around an hour. So if I seem a little straight to the point on the first one, we're just going to kind of see how it goes. Hey Penny, how are you? Dad, always good to see you. Hope you're having a good night with your mice. JKD Buck, as always, good to see you. Linda, you made it back. Patrick, good evening, and thank you for the gifted One Squid Pro Quo membership. And that went to my LPO, AT1. He wasn't really my LPO, but he's an AT1. I was an AT2. That's the running inside joke. Hung Hero, as always, is good to see you. So we hit a milestone today. We are up to 1,300 subscribers. I don't know how. I thank goodness for each and every one of you, and I appreciate you being here. We are currently still at 1,300, so we didn't lose anybody. I can't even, it's still hard to believe that I'm even monetized, let alone ad revenue and all of that stuff. I just can't. Yeah. I gained 300 subscribers in a day and a half. Because I think I hit 1,000 last weekend. I don't know. You'll be at 2,000 in no time. Probably not. But I appreciate every single one of you. I would love to get to, if I could ultimately, with this channel, get to 8 to 10,000, I think I would be satisfied. But that's a dream. I remember when I first got 100 subscribers, I was like, holy crap, I'm in 3 digits. I'm in 3 digits. How did this happen? But here we are. All right, getting to the point tonight. So, as everybody knows, the election's done. Thank the good Lord above. Trump won. We have control of the Senate. Republicans have control of the Senate. Republicans have control of the House. He started naming who he's going to appoint as cabinet members. We shall see what he chooses to do with the rest of his cabinet. For one thing, does anybody realize how many people are in the cabinet these days? Like, I happen to think it was just, for some reason, I haven't looked it up in a while. So I'm going to share with you guys this screen. So this is the current cabinet. Good Lord. And I have no idea who most of these people are, because even though they have jobs where they serve the people never see them. That's problem one that I have with the government. If you are appointed, and you are taking government funds and you have control of government funds, you should be forward facing. There is no hiding in Washington. So obviously the vice president, everybody knows Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury. Trump has yet to name anybody for that. Secretary of Defense, Attorney General, Secretary of the Interior, Agriculture, Commerce, Secretary of Labor, Health and Human Services. And then this one, Deputy Secretary performing the delegated duties of the Secretary, whatever that. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Yeah. It's actually 15 secretaries. Yeah. Transportation, energy, education. Has anybody seen Jennifer Granholm lately? Does anybody even know who Jennifer Granholm is? Your guess is as good as mine. I go to the VA, Dennis McDonough. Never seen him at the VA. Like, never seen him. Homeland Security, Chief of Staff, Administrator of EPA, Director of National Intelligence, Trade Representative, UN Ambassador, Chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, Small Business Administration Administrator, Office of Management and Budget, Office of Science and Technology and Policy, and Director of the CIA. Yes, I'm laughing at you. You managed to get yourself booted. I mean, that's kind of funny. That's hilarious, actually. All things considering. Yeah, you're welcome here, though. Just be on your best behavior. I just have to laugh. Okay, so Trump started naming his people. Some of them I'm like, that's awesome. I like just on the face of it, but let's do a deep dive. So I pulled articles from multiple different news sources so you can see the difference in how they talk about people and where they seem to go. Never gonna happen. Nice try though. I mean, you can give it a shot. Give me your best. So we are going to start with, and I have it on my I was organized. I made a notepad with my links So, Secretary of the State. We know, we're supposed to know what the Secretary of State does, but I'm pretty sure if you go and you tell someone on the street to name 5 duties of the Secretary of State, no one's going to be able to tell you shit because nobody knows. And if we don't know what their jobs are, it's very difficult to hold them accountable to a job that we don't know what it is. So I am a fan of holding people's feet to the fire. Thank you, David Gingras, for the $4.99 super chat. Ampersand shift 2 squid pro quo. You're triggering my TDS. That's a you problem, sir. That's a you problem. So, the Secretary of State has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bullet points of what they're supposed to do. And I'm a fan of every year, 6 months even, going down this bullet point and be like, are you doing your job? Because that's what we would have, an annual review, right? You work at a job, you have an annual performance review. Why aren't these people given an annual performance review? By the people. So I'm not going to get into the history of it, but we will get into his job duties. Hey, Palmers. Night Owl, how are you? Too bad the Biden cabinet can't be donated to Habitat for Humanity. Then maybe those secretaries would actually help someone. Jimmy Carter would be thankful. Yes, Jimmy Carter is officially not the worst president in history, modern history. Okay, so everybody kind of knows what the first job duties are. Serves as president's principal advisor on U.S. foreign policy. That one's kind of obvious, or what most people think of. Conducts negotiations related to U.S. foreign affairs. Grants and issues passports to American citizens and I'm just English. Sorry, Zach's not here to be my grammar Yahtzee. To foreign councils in the United States, advises the president on the appointments of U.S. ambassadors, ministers, consuls, and other diplomatic representatives. Advises the president regarding the acceptance, recall, and dismissal of the representatives of foreign governments. Personally participates in or directs U.S. representatives to international conferences, organizations, and agencies. Negotiates, interprets, and terminates treaties and agreements. Ensures the protection of U.S. government to American citizens' property and interests in foreign countries. Supervises the administration of U.S. immigration laws abroad. Provides information to American citizens regarding the political, economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian conditions in foreign countries. Informs the Congress and American citizens of the conduct of U.S. foreign relations. So this one right here is interesting. Informs Congress and American citizens on the conduct of U.S. foreign relations. How often have you seen the Secretary of State to a press conference lately? If he's supposed to inform the American citizens of this, why doesn't he do it? There's so much secrecy right now. And this is part of the reason that a lot of people have problems with the government, is the transparency. I understand you have to keep some things secret, because just like you or I could watch the news, so could an adversarial person. I get that. But when you're supposed to inform the American people of certain things and you don't, that's not you doing your job. So that's sort of interesting to me. Promotes beneficial economic intercourse between the United States and other countries. Hung Hero, don't even go there. I know where your I know where you're going to go with that one. Administers the Department of State, supervises the Foreign Service of the United States. I mean, so in addition, the Secretary of State retains domestic responsibilities that Congress entrusted to the State Department in 1789. These include custody of the Great Seal of the United States, the preparation of certain presidential proclamations, the publication of treaties and international acts, as well as the official record of the foreign relations of the United States, and the custody of certain original treaties and international agreements. The Secretary also serves as the channel of communication between the federal government and the states on extradition of fugitives to or from foreign countries. I mean, I just going back to like middle school social studies class, because this, I'm pretty sure 99% of people couldn't name more than two of those. You say foreign policies, like, okay, what does that include? All right. Tammy, thanks for the $5 super chat. I heard Trump's cabinet picks are on par with an NFL draft. I mean, he's doing pretty. I mean, he's got kind of a dream team, but I think he actually learned from last time. Last time, even though he the president, let me put this bluntly. I heard the other day someone smarter than me say this, but the United States president is the hardest job that nobody has any experience with. You've never done it before. So I think he underestimated the number of appointees, who to keep in your inner circle, who to trust, who not to trust, how deep the deep state really is, because it's not just a swamp, it's an ocean of bullshit. Just saying. So I don't think he anticipated what picking people, and I think this time I'm kind of glad he had a 4-year break. And hear me out, in the sense of, we saw what happens when the far left gets their way. Things don't work well. Also, he gets a fresh start. And like that phrase, miss me yet? Well, now you're back. It's time to put the pedal to the metal. You know how to do the job. Do it. There is no excuses now. You know the job. Anong Hero, thanks for the $2 super chat. Reading is like in hard. Yeah. I'm like, I kind of want to do that like cell phone service. Like, you can't hear it's my mic. So, but I appreciate everybody today. And hey, Rosalind. Oh, Musey is here. Hi, Musey. Hey, there's good. Thanks for breaking this down. Don't forget to share the links for those 2 websites I sent you. You sent me, wait. What? I'm lost. I'm sorry. I'm really glad that it's not like a Browns draft. Yeah, this ain't the movies. Yep, and I do know you, because I knew one word in that was going to trigger your teenage, just like certain things in some that's in every legal document. It is actually, it might be, but it's really hard, because not on this. Let's see, edit. I'm pretty sure there is. I just don't know what it. There we go. Oh. Yeah, there's not really a way. It's not like a phone. Oh. Was Hillary Secretary of State? Yeah. 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 We're just going with that. Ooh, what'd you make for dinner? Trump is kicking out all of Obama's flunkies that have been there for, yeah. There's a bunch of people that have been retiring. And that's for another stream. That might be for another stream, but there's a bunch of people who have put in their resignations and they're going to retire before they get fired. So with this, the interesting thing about it is we have Marco Rubio, who I find very interesting. For one, not that Republicans even really give a crap about being the first or this or that, because it's the content of your character and the ability of you to do the job, and not your let's see, not what's between your legs, not what color your skin is. It's what's between your ears that makes you thanks, Ernie. That makes you be qualified for something. But he is the first Cuban American cabinet member. He is the son of Cuban immigrants, legal Cuban immigrants, by the way, just in case anybody cares. I just had to stop sharing to say that out loud, because like we really don't care about being the first. It's just okay, like it's cool, but it's not like when Trump was president for the first time, one of his cabinet members, and forgive me, brain surgery, brain fog, I cannot remember his name, but he was the first openly gay cabinet member. But we didn't go and advertise it because it's not important. It's being gay was a part of his personality. It wasn't the only thing that he is known for. So I can't remember his name right now, but I'll hit end stream and his name will instantly like pop into my head. And I straightened and I did my hair, but when they came to look at our house, we had to go in the golf cart, and it is cold and rainy and humid. So my hair is poofy and frizzy and gross and oy. So control and plus sign. Let's see. I have a Mac, so that might be part of why it's not cooperating, but I'll Google it, figure it out next time. Hey Flash fan, how are you doing tonight? And Ernie, it's good to see you as always. All right, so Marco Rubio, Secretary of State candidate. I think he'll have no problem getting nominated, confirmed by the Senate, because I mean, he is. No, we read through the duties of the Secretary of State. Like we didn't. Yeah, Rick Grenell. Yes, I wanted to say something like green but it wasn't working tonight. So most, if not all, senators, congressmen, congresswomen, if you want to be that way, have their own websites, and it basically says what their priorities are and what they've done. He's been a senator since 2011, and they actually, fun fact, didn't want him to run for Senate. They wanted him to drop out of the race and become Florida's Attorney General, because he was so much of an underdog in that race. And he didn't drop out, and he is here. Yeah. As long as folk have a brain to help run a country, that's all it's needed. It doesn't matter. Exactly. Well, yeah. Any nationality. Well, that one kind of matters because you have to be a naturalized citizen to be president, but that's beside the point. 2 through 10, see number 1. Yeah. Number 1 priorities, get reelected. See, but I actually, I think that we should all go and check out our congressmen and our senators' websites and call them on the shit that they're not doing, or praise them on the things they are doing. That's what I'm worried about. You're gonna see rhinos rear their ugly head. People who claim to be conservative, but they're really part of it's a uniparty. Let's be honest. Like, come on, guys. We all know it's a uniparty. Even the people who aren't corrupt when they say they're going to Washington, 90% of them end up as corrupt as hell. And hey, the Wilborns, how are you? So I pulled not only his website that I will actually drop in the chat, because I think that every person should go to these sites and read for themselves, because I'm trying to do just a basic overview here for not only an education for me, but for all of you to be able to better hold people accountable. Because I'm always in the sense of like, I can't hold them accountable for a job that I don't know what it is. Just a random thought I had, you know? Plus, I'm trying to be different with these streams now that the election's over. Everybody is doing left meltdown memes. I'm kind of getting sick of them. They kind of make me sad at this point. So, oh yes, lots of corruption in politics. We even see it with the courts. Yep. In New York, for example, the judge that was doing Trump's case was but he was a federal judge, so no cameras, so you only heard it from news. Yeah, I don't think rhinos will be tolerated either, but they're still there. I like Coach Tuberville. I like him. I saw him on a couple of sports podcasts. Oh, sounds good. Oh boy, hair talk. That's another stream. Oh, yeah, that's another stream, because I'm trying to keep these to an hour. So I think we'll do 2 to 3 of these per stream, because there are a lot and more coming every day. But it's like, I wanted to pull not only articles from, like, I pulled articles from multiple sources, lefty sources, so that we could see all that, what we know about someone and someone's qualifications, and then what's reported. That's true. Yeah. And this is also true. Like, all right. President-elect Trump nominates Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. Nominated Florida Senator Marco Rubio to serve as Secretary of State, according to a statement from the transition team. If confirmed, Rubio would become the first Latino ever to serve as the nation's top diplomat. Marco is a highly respected leader and a very powerful voice for freedom, Trump said in a statement on Wednesday. He will be a strong advocate for our nation, a true friend to our allies, and a fearless warrior who will never back down to our adversaries. I look forward to working with Marco to make America and the world safe and great again. I plan on that's kind of one of my my lists of things to research and to do, is to find the rhinos and expose them. I have a lot of things I want to do. It's finding the time to do them. So it's just a time and effort thing. So, you know, the selection officially brings Rubio into Trump's fold and offers a new chapter in the evolving relationship between the former rivals for the 2016 Republican presidential nomination. In the years since, Rubio has become a close advisor to Trump on foreign relations and was even a top contender for his vice president up until the day Trump announced Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate. So there's things that I've heard something with the 12th Amendment. And when two people are running on a ticket and they're from the same state, I have to do some research, but I've heard that you possibly give up the electoral votes in that state. But I have seen that as mostly false, but I can't get the exact wording as to why. And the way the 12th Amendment is written, you can tell they wrote it in the 1700s because it's kind of confusing as hell. So I have to break it down, and I started to today, and it was like, oh, this is going to take time, and somebody smarter than me. Leading the U.S. Department of State is a tremendous responsibility, and I'm honored by the trust President Trump has placed in me, Rubio said in a statement. As Secretary of State, I will work every day to carry out his foreign policy agenda. Under leadership of President Trump, we will deliver peace through strength and always put the interests of Americans and America above all else. And that's what we don't do right now. We put everybody else's well-being above our own. And it kind of drives me nuts. Like, ugh. The nomination is a signal that when it comes to international diplomacy, the incoming Trump administration will be shaped by Rubio's traditional hawkishness, an approach that has made him one of the Senate's leading voices on foreign policy. But the two have disagreed in the past over the extent to which the U.S. should exercise aggressive foreign policy measures. And the thing about it is they might disagree, but guess what? They can compromise because, adults do that. Adults compromise. They don't go, you don't agree with me, I hate you. And they don't skirt the issue. They're two type A men who can work together to get shit done. Yeah, and that's the problem with Trump picking Rubio as his vice president. Rubio's from Miami. Trump's in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. But that's what I've heard it boils down to, but I wanted to read it myself. And the 12th Amendment is just is a long it's a very interestingly written. Yeah, America first is a must, or we will be dust blown in the wind by 2030. Exactly. Yeah. How dare I bring adults? Oh my God. I was watching, or I can't remember what her channel's name is, but it's like Bring the Receipts or something like that. And she was looking at meltdowns on CNN. And it was like, there was one guy that was having a temper tantrum because he was being called out on Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan. And somebody was like, we were good until August of 2021. And that's when Biden's numbers started dropping because people were upset with that. And it was like, oh my God. Hey, Tammy, me too. Just kidding. All right. Rubio, the son of Cuban immigrants, was first elected to Senator of Florida in 2010 after serving in the state house, including as a speaker for more than a decade. During his time in the Senate, Rubio became a key voice in debates over U.S. foreign policy. As a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Rubio advocated for Libyan intervention in 2011 and criticized then-President Trump in 2019 for proposing to withdraw from Syria and Afghanistan. Upon Trump's win, Rubio said last Wednesday that the U.S. will see pragmatic foreign policy with Trump in the White House. We're entering into an era of pragmatic foreign policy in which the world is rapidly changing, Rubio said in an interview with CNN. Adversaries are uniting. North Korea, Iran, China, and Russia are increasingly coordinating, which is scary. It's going to require us to be very pragmatic and wise in how we invest overseas and what we do. Rubio's expected nomination comes as the Trump administration will have to contend with ongoing wars between Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Hamas, in addition to ongoing tensions with China and Iran. There's a whole lot of shit going on. Despite holding more traditionally interventionist views on foreign policy, more broadly, Rubio was among a bloc of senators who voted against military aid for Ukraine, which ultimately passed in April. Thank goodness. What we are funding here is a stalemate that needs to be brought to a conclusion, Rubio said in opposition to military funding and in advocating for negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Trump and Rubio's relationship has not always been harmonious. The two poked jabs at each other while campaigning against each other in 2016. Trump liked to call Rubio Little Marco, and things got topsy-turvy when Rubio made insinuations about Trump, saying, "Have you seen his hands? And you know what they say about men with small hands," to which Trump responded, "I guarantee you there's no problem." That to me is fun. Like, that to me is just fun jabs. That is not the way that they make it out to be. It's not been harmonious. Like, that's two men making fun of each other. What men don't make fun of each other? That's how you communicate. Rubio said that voters should not back Trump in 2016, saying friends do not let friends vote for a con artist. But he ultimately supported Trump that year, and since then, Rubio's support has only grown stronger as he endorsed the president-elect in both 2020 and 2024. Rubio even helped Trump prepare for his debate against President Biden in 2020. So, I need to go and try to get some sleep. Good night. Good night, Musey. Hope you sleep well. So, this is from NPR. And even though NPR is generally, I'm just not even going to say it because you know my opinion on that. But, I love this pick. He's good at foreign policy. He doesn't always get along with Trump, so he's going to be able to disagree and come to a compromise because he's not going to be a yes man to Trump. And I think that's what all Democrats think that Republicans are, because they think we're a cult. The amount of cults that I've been in the past year, I don't know. The Pond Scum Posse, the Deplorables, the Garbage Men, the Jeremy Hales cult. I guess I'm just in a, and I always looked at it this way. If the entirety of Washington does not like you, and I hate Washington, maybe you're the guy for the job. And see, and I'm like this is locker room talk. When you say, well, he has small feet. You know what they say about men with small feet? That's like dudes just talking. Trust me, I've worked with enough of them to know that this is how y'all talk to each other, and it's fine. I was talking to Flash Fan earlier, it's the people who are offended for other people, I'm pretty sure that Marco Rubio was not offended by Trump calling him Little Marco. And I can guarantee you that Trump was not offended by him insinuating that Trump had a small dick. I'm pretty sure that they're just fine. It's not like Kamala calling Joe a racist and then 3 weeks later saying Joe's the greatest person of all time. That just doesn't, And hi, Island. I'm sorry. I never said hi to you. I saw your comment that you were lurking. Hope you're having a good night. So there's Trump's Secretary of State pick. I love it. I love it. And I heard a rumor that Laura Trump might take Rubio's Senate seat. So there were people that were worried on the mainstream media and some other Discord servers, not mine, about Trump packing his cabinet. and being left with a weak Senate. I'm sorry, Laura Trump in the Senate would be like a bull in a china shop. Oh, guess what? It's not against YouTube terms of service. I looked, because when I went through and I monetized all my videos, you have to kind of rate yourself as to what's in your thing. And the first thing it says is language. And it's like, did you know you can actually have curse words in your thumbnail and still be ad friendly? So one time of dropping the D is not going to harm me. I read through it because I did a video on Sean Steins, the Kentucky sheriff that was caught on camera unaliving a district court judge. And I was unsure about if I can monetize that one because it actually has the footage of. So I read through all of the, all the things, and you could actually get away with a lot more on YouTube than you think you can. There are certain things that, like the coof, that you can't really say still, but like there are things that are like, really? Like I could show that like and still be monetized? Like, okay, let's, Flashman, I posted an article in the Discord tonight. I made channels for it. The hearing was October 1st. The grand jury had 60 days to come back with an indictment, and 60 days is December 1st. Or December 2nd. So we're right in that range. So I created, and there's no way that the jury's not going to come back with an indictment considering it was on camera. Like you can't, when you unalive somebody and it's on camera, you're going to get charged. So it's just a matter of time. So I'm surprised they haven't came back with it yet, but from what I could find, they haven't. I just shared your video and I'm hoping you get more subscribers. I'm glad you're doing this video on our Trump team. Thank you. See, and I'm doing these for two reasons. One, because I've said it, we can't hold our politicians and our bureaucrats, the unelected people, accountable if we don't know what their jobs are. And the government's gotten so big that I didn't realize that we had a science and technology person in the cabinet. Didn't know. Hadn't checked recently, didn't know. And secondly, this is to let everybody know that even on the Trump side, that, hey, are these or aren't these people qualified? Because we look at it and we go, oh, he'd be a good pick, but why? And also, it lets people that maybe don't agree with us, it gives them more information than they might have found otherwise. I'm all for like being educated about, like having an educated vote. Well, I'm all about having an educated opinion. And if you start talking and running your mouth saying, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, but you only can regurgitate talking points on either one side or the other, and you don't actually have any facts, I get like, Ernie, but the first thing when I saw that is like, well, I need stuff to hold my dishes. And mom joke, but like that's, and I don't know how, and I have to actually look into that because that's a really good question. I don't know why they decide to add people to the cabinet, because back in the day it was only 15 people, well, 14 people, but they didn't have a Department of Education until I believe the 80s, so there was no education secretary. The Small Business Administration was, I believe, a recent addition. Hey, Beach Girl, how are you? So, and the science and technology, obviously back in the 17 and 1800s, they didn't, that wasn't the thing. So I'm not sure when they add stuff, but they appear to add stuff all the time because there's like 30 people. Like I wrote them all down, and I'm like, I wrote them all down because I was checking what, I was checking off what he had and what he didn't. So I'm like, which argument are we talking about? Yeah, Flashhand, but we had this conversation today, and you pointed out yourself, the biggest difference that I see in Republicans and Democrats is when you said, I can't remember how you phrased it, but you said something about, I'm gonna go back and look at it because, you kind of went on a rant, and it was like, yeah, everyone is created equal and we are all intelligent people. If only everyone in the world could act like it. I'm like, yeah, that, and I was like, that's the biggest difference between what I feel is the biggest difference, and this is my personal opinion, between Democrats and actually like mostly mainstream Democrats that you see on the TV and that you see posting all over Twitter because they don't have actual lives, so they spend their whole life online, is Republicans are equal opportunity. Everybody gets a shot. Everybody gets a shot at the starting line. Democrats are equal outcomes. And like, that's where they differ, in my opinion. I might not be accurate in my opinion. My opinion might be wrong, but it's mine. And I will stick to it until someone can change my mind. Hey, David, how are you? Yeah, and you went on your first rant, and I'm proud of you. So you might call yourself a Democrat, but you are more of a moderate, in my opinion. Yeah, you might lean that way, but like, you're a moderate. Let's be honest. You're not an off the wall in either direction. You're a moderate. All right. So there was Secretary of State. That to me is the biggest one. But here's the most senior Chief of Staff. This pick is amazing to me because I don't know much about Susie Wiles, but like just her, like she's got this swagger. When I see her walk and like I see pictures of her, she just has this no nonsense, like, she's like nice, but if you look at her smile, it's like, I'm nice until you make me mad, and then good luck to you and bless your heart. She looks like she would be able to like cook you a 3-course, 4-course meal, but also like dump cyanide in your freaking thing if you piss her off. Like, she's, and I'm kind of like, I like her. So the snowflakes lost their minds, forget that there are 3 branches of government, wants to blame everything on the president. Yeah. So hey, Dennis, Secretary of State is important, 4th in line for the presidency. The way they're taking pot shots this year, you never know. That is really true. Not true for everyone, but many Republicans think Democrats are good people with bad ideas. Yes, Doris. Oh my God. I know you're a relatively new person to my channel and my streams, but what is my favorite, like, you can ask my dad what my favorite like phrase is and like line of, how I describe the two. Republicans think Democrats are good people with bad ideas. Democrats think Republicans are just bad people and evil. Like, that's the general consensus. That is, you and I are like this. Like, yes. I say that, Flash fan, how many times have I said that? Like, the undecided, to me, are the interesting bunch. Because there's to me, the undecideds are most of the time the libertarians. But because libertarians don't have enough support to actually be recognized as a party, they're the lost bunch. They're the people that want to be left alone. Yes, that's the Democrats, and yeah, that's within the last, like, I want to say 10 to 15 years. That's the, yeah, the last 10 to 15 years, the millennial Democrats, not the classical liberals. The classical liberal is probably where I would describe myself, is like, I just want to be left alone. Like, yeah. So I kind of would describe the undecideds as like just like more of the libertarians. They agree with this side on some things, they agree with this side on some things. They're like that third party that just doesn't have enough people in that third party to be that third party. And I'm guilty of this, because if a third party was, if you go with classic Republicans and classic liberals, I'd be a libertarian all damn day. So, yeah. And Doris, thank you for your service, fellow DOD or fellow veteran. Spent 20 years in the DOD, seen a lot. Yeah. My best friend is very far left. She finally had enough of all the BS on that side and voted for Trump. And that's the thing. I think even people who in 2016 and 2020 might have been like, I hate him, and they only voted, and this is going to come out funky, and it's how my brain processes things, but people who might not like him as a person, so they didn't vote for him in 2016 and 2020 because they don't like him as a person. And you know what? You can not like somebody's personality and still think they're good at their job. I know a lot of YouTubers that have awesome content, but would I ever want to be friends with them? Probably not. So, like, you can be really good at your job and a really shitty human. But what this country needs, and they finally kind of, the people who didn't like him in 2020 saw the difference in 2020 and 2024, and were like, I don't like his personality, but I was better off then. So I think there was a lot of that. People coming to the conclusion that I might not like his personality, but the crap I've seen in the last 4 years ain't working. And I just find it hilarious. And Mr. Squid brought up this point the other day that apparently Kamala's campaign is $20 million in debt. She had over $1 billion in funds, and her campaign is $20 million in debt. She couldn't even manage the funds for a year-long campaign, well, 6-month campaign. How would she manage the funds of a country if she can't even manage her own campaign? That's what I just don't understand. Like, wasn't. And there are also those people, even Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club was like, I was bamboozled. And see, here's my only issue with that, Flash Fan, is like, I appreciate the he's not horrible, because everybody's trying to make him out to be horrible, but we need someone to run this job. We need someone to run this country like a business, because we are so overinflated. It's almost like the big banks when they were too big to fail and they did anyway. Because when you spend more money than you have, it's going to come back to bite you. And can anybody tell me when the last time that we had a balanced budget in this country? Was it back in the 90s, or was it earlier? I think it was Clinton the last time we had a balanced budget. I was really young then, so don't yeah. She had to pay off a lot of people. That she did. You can only have so many concerts. But this is speculation on my part. I'm sure some of those people that talked for her were being blackmailed because they're on somebody's list that may be exposed soon. Yeah, it's a little, I don't know. Can't be in, well, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and people are like he's filed for bankruptcy. I know plenty of people who are really good at business, and they filed for bankruptcy in the past because some business ideas work and some don't, and you have trial and error, and some error. Hey, I was right. Thank you. At least I'm right at something. 2001. Whoop. I don't know what I am. So good and bad in both parties. Yeah, and I don't think any party is like great. I looked at it this way. If I can go to bed at night thinking that for better or for worse, you are putting in all your effort and you actually give a crap about me, even if all your decisions aren't perfect, I'm okay. If I go to bed and I'm scared that the person in charge hates my guts and doesn't give a crap about anything to do with my life, that's when I'm like, I can't vote for that. And within the last, 15 years, basically my whole time of voting, I've never been able to go to sleep at night thinking that Democrats have my actually give a crap about the individual, because everything is for the state, for the state, for the state, not for the individual. So, and JFK probably would be like RFK right now. RFK is like, I'm sorry, y'all went too far off the deep end. I think JFK would be the same way. But that's just my personal opinion. He's not alive, so we can't ask him. You know, everybody knows what happened to him. And if you want conspiracy theories and interesting information that you might not know about JFK, check out Rosalind's channel, because she's the go-to person for all things JFK in my mind. So she has a bunch of great videos on it. All right. White House Chief of Staff. What do? They are the most senior official in the cabinet. Yeah, and see, here's the thing too. Back then, I think he's being more tactful than last time, because last time was a lot of status quo. So there are some things that I'm like, really, I wish you would have done this, really wish you would have done that. But sometimes when you're given people who claim to be on your side but really aren't, I get a little leery on like, okay. But I also back then wasn't super into actually reading the bills. And the one thing I wanted to do with this that I didn't get time for because of certain things that I had to get done today, I wanted to go on Congress's website and look at Marco Rubio's bills that he's introduced. Like, what are his bills like? Are his bills full of bullshit? Or are his bills full of things that, we can, yeah, a lot of backstabbers in 2016. So you kind of had to compromise on some things that maybe this time you won't have to compromise on. So with that, I'm like, am I happy with it? No, but there's some things that we might not have seen. Alrighty, let's get this done. White House Chief of Staff, and There we go. Duties, both managerial and advisory duties, including selecting and hiring staff members, structuring the office's system of reporting information, monitoring and maintaining the office's information flow to the president, maintaining the president's schedule. Ooh, good luck with that one. Advising the president on politics and policy. So it goes into, and I'm going to post this in here so y'all can look at it on your own. I'm not going to go into everything, but like, I think that maintaining the flow of information is the biggest, like, the biggest thing, because you are the main line of communication for people. Chief of Staff must maintain the flow of information to assure the president receives all the necessary information and points of view. That one's big. The chief needs to monitor the information provided by staff on important policy issues to make sure it is in the interest of the president, not the producers of the information. However, it is also important that the chief of staff involve the White House staff in the decision-making process in order to ensure the chief is not the sole person directing the policies presented to the president. Presidents using an open-door policy in regards to information have typically turned into a strong chief of staff in order to prevent becoming overwhelmed. The chief of staff is also responsible for providing background information on issues important to the president. This person needs to be super knowledgeable, a super good communicator. Yeah, she was his campaign manager. So I understand that. However, every campaign is a what if. Every time you go to the ballot box is a what if. So it's, I mean, at the same time, it's like, he's done it before. Yes, he also asked him to provide proof, because there's 20 million votes that disappeared. So I believe the election was rigged back in 2020, because there was about between 15 and 20 more votes cast in 2020. Where'd they go? So, yeah. So, people say that when they're not happy. On either side. People say that when they're not happy. But I do think that 20 million votes disappearing, when people are reporting record turnouts at their precincts for this election, something just, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, something's just bleh. Yeah, I do too. So I think this time he's being very tactful, that like JD Vance is very close to Don Jr. So I believe he's keeping people close to each other, close to him. So, yeah. Well, when you piss off half the country because you call them garbage, and the people that were the people that have told me that they're better off now than they were 4 years ago, and I ask how, and they can't answer. All I know is all they say is that she was a woman. I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's not about what genitalia you have. It's about what's between your ears. But you know. Ooh. Well, look at that. So, interestingly, they have staff salaries in White House from 2003 to 2017. Donald Trump had only 377 staffers. He actually spent less money on people, but their average salary was higher. So it's interesting. He spent less on salaries than going back to George Bush in 2008. Yeah. But he has less people than every other president. Well, Barack Obama and Bush. Interesting. Yeah, flash assassination attempts, botched hurricane relief, Joe Biden calling us trash. There is a bunch of people who, in North Carolina, that there's that are that area tends to go blue, and they were hit by Hurricane Helene, and they went red. Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Yeah, not to mention they pissed off the Amish. The Amish typically don't vote. I mean, they typically just want to be left alone and literally stay out of everything. But when you get the Amish to vote, yeah, I'm with you, Beach Girl. It had nothing to do with gender. And I hate all these like talking heads on Twitter that are like, I speak for all women. I was like, please don't speak for me. Please don't speak for me. I don't want anybody to speak for me, and I don't speak for anybody. Like, but let's see, where's my thing? Susie Wiles. I don't know why these are opening up on the wrong screen. Share this tab instead. Meet Susie Wiles, incoming Trump-appointed White House Chief of Staff. President-elect Donald Trump's first key appointment since his victory this week came with a historic choice. Historic choice. And why don't you like Vance? I'm curious because he grew up in the same area that I grew up. And I understand why he does certain things that he does. Yeah. So, pretty much. Like, yeah, they don't touch elections it's against their religion, but they had enough the last 4 years. Yeah. He selected Susie Wiles to be his White House Chief of Staff, making her the first woman appointed to the position. But I thought he was a misogynist. Huh. The historical difference is the Democrats wanted strong centralized government. They were federalists. The Republicans wanted small local government, limited in specific purpose, anti-federalist. I'm with the historically small. And that's what, like, certain things are just being put back in the hands of the states and letting the states make the call instead of having the federal government. The federal government should only be in charge of the stuff that's in the Constitution. Making sure your constitutional rights are protected and your national security. That is it. Yeah. And see, and the name calling really doesn't bother me. It's like I make a freaking joke out of it. Like, you're a classical Republican. Yeah, I just leave things in the hands of the states. Like, yeah. I think, yes, Flashman agreed. Them not having a woman in office didn't have nothing to do with it. I think Hillary Clinton was a bad choice. There is, yeah. It's not that we don't want a woman president. It's they just keep picking really bad choices. Like, they just keep making really bad choices. Like, you're not picking the business owners. You were picking I've worked in government my entire life. I've never built a business. I've never done anything. I've only done this job, and somehow I'm a billionaire. Like, I've only been in public service, and I don't actually serve the public. So, yeah. See, and that is why I like him. Because it proves that you can change your mind. And you can be wrong and admit you're wrong. And the fact that he admitted that he was wrong, I'm okay with that. Like you can be See, and that right there, to me, is a sign of a strong sense of self, that you can admit that you are wrong about somebody. It's, yeah, me too. Like, that's why I like him, because it shows that you can change your mind, and it's all right to change your mind. Because in this country right now, we are just full of people that think that we can never change our minds. Like, people can change their opinion when given more information. And when given more information and seeing things with your own eyes instead of with your preconceived notions based on what you've seen on TV or what you've heard in the papers, because Trump was big in page 6 of the New York Post for years. So, like, and that's the thing, like, most of the people that are close to Trump right now are people who were not on his side in 2016. But you learn, you get to know somebody, you see them actually work, and maybe your preconceived notions, like most people and Shara. We didn't like her. Now we like her. Slug. We didn't like him. Now we like him. People can still disagree with us, but change their mind and their overall opinion on a situation or a person when you're given more information. So that's why I like him, because he fully admitted that he was wrong in his initial impressions. And like, that to me is a strong sense of self. So, and it takes a big person with a strong sense of self to admit you're wrong in 2024. Because most people have too big of an ego to ever admit they're wrong. So, yeah. Yeah, I love Tulsi. Except her opinion on the Second Amendment, but like, that might change too. So, and not everybody is going to agree with me on everything. And just because somebody doesn't like the Second Amendment or has different views than I do on it, she still had to go through Congress and the Supreme Court in order to do anything, Well, I'm just going to leave that one right here. So, and I don't agree with everything, but I do like her. Yeah. I do like her overall. So, and I'm not in love with her, but once again, I don't agree with everything anybody does. Like, yeah. Yeah, even Trump was a lifelong Democrat. Hey, David, how are you? The other David. Both Davids are here. Ugh. Wiles, Trump's campaign manager for his 2024 run, has been widely credited for his victory. The New York Times described her as perhaps the most significant voice inside Mr. Trump's third presidential campaign. Yeah. Democrat Florida Representative Jared Moskowitz has highlighted the effectiveness of Wiles' strategy both in Trump's case and in previous campaigns throughout Florida. If you don't know her, you soon will, but Susie will go down as one of the greatest campaign strategists, he said via social media. To the Democrats' detriment, she has been part of all the winning campaigns in Florida. And I'm sorry, if she was making a lot of the decisions in this 2024 campaign, she wasn't. There were some of those decisions during his 2024 campaign, especially the trolls, were genius. Yes, freedom to change your mind. Tulsi, Elon, Trump, and RFK were all driven right. Yes. And I really hope RFK becomes Health and Human Services, because, oh my God. Like, there are foods that there are foods, and Tammy, I have Hillbilly Elegy. I have Vance's book. It's really good. So, like, Flash Fan is the reason why I did that 2025 or Project 2025 versus Agenda 47 stream. Flash fan. So thank you, Flash fan, for getting me started on this Thursday night politics stream. It's all his fault. So thank you, Flash fan. Trump thanked Wiles during his early victory speech on Tuesday night. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris. You did the job you did. Come, Susie, Trump said, calling her over Wiles and referencing her co-campaign manager, Chris Lasavita. Susie likes to stay in the back. Let me tell you, we call her the Ice Maiden. Here's what you need to know about Wiles, who has cemented herself as one of Trump's most trusted advisors and will hold the president-elect's ear as he returns to the White House. Yeah, I don't want to watch the movie. I don't ever like, yeah. Really? Stevia is more effective than antibiotics for Lyme disease. Interesting. Yeah, sometimes I wish Marjorie Taylor Greene would stop talking. I like her decisions and her votes and her opinions on things, but sometimes I'm of the belief, and I was like this even with Trump, everybody knows your opinions. Now it's time to shut up. And I believe he did that better in this campaign, and she was behind it. So if Susie Wiles was behind him shutting up, you say your statement, you say what you need to say, and then you shut the F up. And you stay quiet, and you just let what your statement and your actions and not your words. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene sometimes gets a little bit too, yes, we got your point. I love her policy decisions and her personality as far as like everybody knows what she thinks. But there's also the time when just because you can say something, and I've said this to Flash fan, just freedom of speech, just because you can say shit doesn't mean you should say shit. Like sometimes you just need to say it once and stop talking. Because when you repeat yourself, one, you say more and more derivative or divisive crap every time, even though you might not be meaning to. And secondly, people get sick of your voice because you talk too much. Yeah. Brevity can be powerful. Yes. That is Lauren Boebert. Hey, King Bob, how are you? So, Wiles has a long history of working for Republican politicians and their campaigns. The 67-year-old has a decades-long history as a Republican strategist and campaign staffer. She worked under the late former New York Representative Jack Kemp back in the 70s before working on Ronald Reagan's 1980 presidential campaign. She went on to work for Jacksonville mayors John Delaney and John Payton. Wiles became a well-respected and well-versed strategist in campaigns in Florida, running Senator Rick Scott's successful campaign for governor of the state in 2010. She also had a brief stint running the 2012 presidential campaign of former Utah Governor John Huntsman, who later sharply criticized Trump after the events of January, So, She quit on DeSantis. She couldn't deal with him. Oh, great. Ugh. Yeah, and I get fired up when I'm passionate about, but I've learned to stop talking. Stop talking. I haven't seen it, but I'll have to look it up. Well, the best satire is stuff that is, you look at it and you go, is that true? That's why The Onion and Duffel Blog and other things are is like you look at it and you go, is that real? Like after Trump's victory in 2016, Wiles chose to stay in Florida and manage Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' successful campaign for governor, yet she also has been credited for why Trump eventually became the GOP's 2024 primary candidate, not DeSantis. The day DeSantis ended his presidential bid, Wiles posted bye-bye on X. Wow. Wow, she's cold. She's cold. I like her. She's petty. Oh yeah, and people got mad at me in the comments of yesterday morning's video for saying I'm petty. Like, I'm petty. It's fine. Like I also had people in the comments going, the fleas don't think don't know you and don't want to know you. It's like, then why do they keep talking about me? And why are there trolls on my chat trying to tell me what not to talk about? And why are you here commenting on my video on my channel when you could have just went and scrolled right past my video? But no, here you are. But thanks for the engagement. Wiles helped Trump win Florida in 2016 and has only grown in importance since then. Wiles joined Trump's 2016 campaign in Florida, specifically running operations that ultimately helped him win the state, landing a key victory in his win over Hillary Clinton. Though Wiles rarely speaks publicly, Trump said in his victory speech on Tuesday evening that she likes to stay in the background. She spoke to the Tampa Bay Times during the 2016 election cycle, explaining that she chose to work for Trump because he represented the changes in Washington she believed were necessary. She felt other candidates represented a Republican status quo she didn't want to continue with. That's what I feel like too. Yeah, I'm sure they don't, but I really don't care. It's funny. And there's a couple people who have been in here talking like normal people who are in their chat as well. And guess what? If I don't care, as long as you come here and you're respectful, okay, welcome. But like, when people come on here and they comment, you're only doing this for, no, I'm doing it because I want to talk about it. And when someone tells me what I can't talk about, that's when I'm like, oh, I'm talking about this just to spite you. That's where the pettiness comes in. Because now I'm going to talk about it just because you are trying to tell me not to. And I'm sorry, I don't take crap from anybody, especially people on the internet that I don't even know. So it's, just a thing. I said, I don't want this to continue. I think it would seriously damage our republic, and who among that group can really have the fortitude to shift what I've seen happening over all these years? Wiles is quoted as saying, in 2019, it was reported that DeSantis attempted to have Trump cut ties with Wiles and succeeded. But Wiles returned to Trump's inner circle, running much of his operations in the Sunshine State, growing to her role as senior campaign manager during the 2024 campaign. Her importance has reportedly made her a target to foreign agents. Well, that's interesting. Wiles' life away from campaigning. And this is actually Time Magazine. This is a very well-written article. I'm kind of shocked. I'm actually kind of shocked. Born in New Jersey, Wiles came from a family of prominence long before her political work began. Wiles' father is the late legendary NFL player turned broadcaster Pat Summerall. Oh, isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. Wiles married fellow Reagan staffer and Republican consultant Lanny Wiles, and the two relocated to a suburb of Jacksonville, Point Vedra Beach. The couple shares 2 daughters and divorced in 2017. Well, that sucks. So, I mean, she is Ice Queen, and I like her. I really like her. I think that's probably my favorite pick so far. That's my favorite pick so far. So those are the only two I wanted to do tonight. I'm in the process of doing the rest of them. I was going to kind of do the women first, minus Secretary of State, because that's a very important one. But I was going to do Tulsi and Kristi Noem next time. Kristi Noem is the one pick where I'm like, yes, I do love all the people threatening to quit. It's like, okay. Like, I was watching a Charlotte Dobre video the other day, and she was like, it's like the people who tell me they're going to unsubscribe. It's like, I didn't know you existed a minute ago, so okay. So, like, it's either quit or be removed, and you might as well just make it easier on the world. It's cheaper. Oh, yes. That is, Tom Homan is Tom Homan's technically not a cabinet member, technically speaking. So I'm kind of going to leave him for a stream of his own, because he's a big one. He's a big one. Well, you know why, right? They enforce their border and immigration laws. So Squid's like, nobody cares. No, it's not that I don't care. Would I love to keep all my subscribers that I get? Definitely. But like, at the same time, one, I can't hold anybody here. If you're not interested in the content that I have, that's okay. And secondly, that's why I ask you guys for input on my content, because I have ideas, but if I have ideas and you guys don't care, it kind of is like, okay, you know. So the one stream, or the couple of streams that I'm going to do, yeah, all you got to do is walk across the border. It ain't that hard. Definitely Tyson. I really hope Jake Paul gets knocked out. Tomorrow, I'm in the process of making the thumbnail. The Laken Riley case starts tomorrow. And Laken Riley, Joe Biden could never say her name. He called her Lincoln Riley the only time he really said it. And Lincoln Riley is a college football coach for USC. So, yeah. So I'm in the process of making my thumbnail. You will never hear me say out loud the name of the defendant. I will use Laken Riley's killer as and I'm not even doing it allegedly. He opted for a bench trial. So instead of it starting Monday, it is starting tomorrow. So I think I might do a Laken Riley night court. I know the fight is tomorrow, so I might do it on Saturday. So, yeah. Oh, it's fine. Discord's not for everybody. So, like, yeah. So I do have a section in the Discord about that case. But you will never hear me say his name out loud, because one, she is from this area. Secondly, I just can't. I will say her name over and over and over again because our politicians couldn't. Because when they looked at who the suspect was, it went against their narrative of illegal immigrants. Some illegal immigrants commit crimes, and we don't know who's coming into this country. So I think that would be a good pick, because Brandon Herrera did run a unsuccessful run for Congress. So it's not that I don't like Georgia cases. It's the reason that Megan doesn't cover New York cases. There's risk involved. But this one is like, because this one was national news, This one was made political when some people couldn't admit or say her name at all, and other people were using it as both sides were using it as a political weapon. And this was a young nursing student who, after her death, is now used as a political pawn for both sides, and I hate that. So this one I am covering just because it's... I didn't, but if you have a name, I will look that up, because that is... We've been doing a lot of cases where children have unalived their parents. So, yeah. Have a good night. I'm getting ready to get out of here. I probably will stream it on Saturday just because there's so much going on tomorrow. I mean, Friday nights are a really bad night for me to stream because I do like to do things on Fridays. Also, yeah, usually best not to cover cases in your own state. This one I'm just doing because of the stated reasons above, but we've been covering a lot of unaliving cases. Yeah, Brandon Herrera, he's known as the AK guy. So he's alcohol is legal, tobacco is legal. Not all alcohol is legal. So, oh yeah, I would cover Wisconsin cases because I don't live there. So I'm not a resident there. So, but I am going to get going. I will see you guys probably on Saturday. We'll probably do the night court thing. It'll probably be Saturday night. Corey Burke. Sweet. Thank you. And then next week, I do have something that I'm working on researching for Tuesdays. I think my either Monday nights or Tuesday, like early afternoon, will be my What the Hail stream. I don't feel like talking about it that much, so I'll probably just do it once a week, give any updates that come up in the case. But I do want to do a deep dive into the little girl's medical condition, because curiosity's got me. Because my medical side of my brain likes to research and do not research in the videos. This is not a video, will not be a video to disparage anybody's parenting or anything. This will be a deep dive into, because I've heard one thing that really got me about this whole Lynette Preston, her daughter, the adoption, whatever you think, I've heard things on both sides where I'm like, I don't think that's true. There's a thing with her supporters that are like, the girl's fine, the girl's fine. I'm not necessarily sure that's true, but there are supporters of the What the Hail side that are saying, well, she's this and she's not potty trained yet. Like, I want to see, because in my preliminary things I know just from knowing things, this can have an effect on your cognition. So if her condition was severe enough at birth, it could have developmental delays. So making fun of a child for being in diapers at the age of 4 or 5 might not be appropriate. Not to say that Lynette is doing everything perfectly, but to have a 4 or 5-year-old who might have developmental delays because of a condition she was born with, I think is pretty effed up. So I want to do a deep dive onto the condition, the things that can happen with the condition, so that if you see or hear something, you don't make fun of Lynette when it's not warranted, because all that does is fuel the haters to hate the other side. So I'm going to fence sit this one, and I'm going to play devil's advocate. And I am going to say, here is the condition, here are peer-reviewed studies, here is this, here is this, here is this. It can cause this. I don't know what her exact things are. And see, there's also misconceptions. I've heard feeding tube, I've heard medication port. There's a large difference between the two. So yeah, and that's the thing. But like, I heard people laughing at a 4-year-old still being in diapers. And it was like, well, this condition might cause neurological symptoms and might cause developmental delays. So you're making fun of somebody being in diapers when they can't help it. So that's where I'm like, it makes me cringy. And that's where I didn't want to cover it, because I thought there was things on both sides that I'm like, eh. But since people want to bring me into it, I might as well bring my input into it. But I'm not going to just hate on people just to hate on people. Yeah, and this video will not be a Lynette sucks at parenting. I'm not going to do that. And this was not a everybody sucks for talking about the child on that side. No, this will be this is her condition from what out of Lynette's own mouth. And I have people helping me find clips where we use what Lynette has said so that I'm not using any conjecture. I don't want this. This will be a fact-based, not a conjecture. Oh, I've heard this. Oh, I've heard this. Somebody commented on my video from yesterday saying something of she has a feeding tube and that it was Lynette's doing. I don't know that to be true because I have not seen medical reports. And also, doctors will not put in a feeding tube because a parent wants it. So I told that person, it was like, not to say that I do not believe you. However, I need receipts. So you provide me with receipts or a medical report or something that I can go, oh yes, this is what she has, or this is why. If you can provide me with a doctor's note, I will believe you. But I can't, knowing how much I like court cases, I'm not. No, and this person really wasn't trolling. This person was legit in their opinion, and their opinion is their opinion. But everybody who's been on my stream or been on my my channel more than a week knows that I don't have the same opinion as everybody else. I am my own person who thinks my own way, and I will cover things in my own way. And this is the side of the case that I don't think anybody has actually looked into. My best friend's a nurse. I'm going to talk to her about it, and I'm going to do a deep dive into this condition and figure out, can Lynette do better? Is she doing the best she can? Because who knows, this condition, she might need supplements. And I'm sorry, from what I've seen, Lynette and John aren't made of money. So yeah, you can join me on that stream. So it's like, yes, that is weird to me too. Like, yeah, it's kind of like, and that's Island. That's why initially, and you know this, I've been like, yeah, and Patrick, I understand that. I appreciate you. It's just that it's like, I like to cover things in a different angle, because if I make the same content as somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, it's like, it gets boring, and I try not to be boring. So I'm fact-based. I try not to think, sometimes to a fault. I try not to think emotionally. But that did help me in, like, my dad, my grandma made me her power of attorney. Personal time with Squid. My grandmother made me her power of attorney. back in 2016, my dad and my grandpa were still alive at the time, but she made me her power of attorney because I worked in the same hospital where she was, and I'm rational. I'm informed. I know what's going on, and I could make decisions without letting too much emotion get in the way. Whether that be my grandpa an angry emotion, or my dad and just ask, not knowing what questions to ask, he would probably ask me anyway. And, you know, yeah, and that's the thing. I think both sides are weird in the way they say they're not going to talk about the little girl, and then they do it anyway. And I just like to, because my brain is like, okay, I go down rabbit holes of like, I'll look at a person walk down the street and I'll look at their gait and I'll look at the way their arm swings. I'll look at the way they move their arm, and I'm like, my OT brain goes, they had a stroke. Did they have a stroke? Do they have like, that's the way my brain works. So I don't tell them that, but like, that's the way when I see or when I hear people talk and I see their mouth move, I'm like, interesting. Yeah. So I get, yeah. And we can't help what our parents did. Like, we aren't our parents. But I just don't like on both sides how the one side doesn't seem to care at all and the other side cares too much. But also makes fun of things. And I'm like, do you know what this condition is? Like, okay, you say it, but like, do you know how that can affect your cognition, your development, how you do with your ADLs, self-feeding? Like, do you need supplements? Because from the pictures I've seen, and I still have to do some investigating, John and Lynette are not made of money. So if she needs supplements and they aren't giving them to her, not because they wouldn't do it, but they can't afford it, there's also a different perspective. Like, people on one side might go, well, she's not giving the stuff. It's like, yeah, because she can't afford it. There's old men who need insulin and can't afford it. Or like, there's medications that people need for their heart that have a $7,000 copay. Like, just because you need something doesn't mean that you have the means to get it. So there's like, I have questions that both sides just give me their opinions and their emotions. They don't give me the fact that I'm looking for. And my analytical side, and especially with medicine, just wants fact, because emotion doesn't care about your health. You could be the most positive person and your health can still suck. Like, and I've worked with enough people who have been in situations that sucked and have needed things that they can't get because they don't have the means. And it's a sad way to live. So I get very personal about that. And I try not to get angry, but I'm like, just gotta go. Yeah. Speaking of medicine, if you're the praying type, if you could send up a couple prayers for our buddy Yoda, Uncle Frank's nephew. I got word today that he was admitted to a hospital. He was originally diagnosed with the flu. He was coughing so hard that he passed out. He did not hurt himself, thank goodness, on the way wherever he fell. But he was diagnosed with pneumonia and made a trip to the hospital. So I was told to share it with you guys from the person who told me. If you guys could throw up a couple, extra prayers for our buddy Yoda, we could really use it. All right, guys, I am going to get out of here. It is 10:15. I need to take my little melatonin supplement, and I need to head to bed because it's going to be a long day tomorrow. I will be watching the Lake and Riley trial, but I have errands to run and life to take care of. So I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great night. Thanks for joining me when I know there's a bunch of other people who are live right now. Let me see if, let me go back to, since I did not do it like I wanted to. We are going to see if Megan and Tug are still live. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I got so good at it that I took for granted the fact that I knew how to do it and clicked on the wrong button. Customization, redirect. The expert is live, Shizzy is live, and Tug is live. We're going to go back to Tug because that's where I'm headed. Y'all have a great night. I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.